Okay, guys, you ready? We're a little bit after the hour because we got more people coming, but I want to be respectful for the guys that are here on time. So let's get started. I'm excited to have Emanuel. I met him through Josh Cavalier. How many people know Josh Cavalier? You don't know Stacy? You don't know Josh?
He's a legend.
Okay.
He
Sorry,
really is.
Oh, you nodded. I was looking for a hand raise. He's actually going to pop in here for a little bit. It was funny because Josh did a training, and after he had been in your program and everything, and I was watching his transformation, and I don't know what you're going to be talking about, but Josh is a friend of mine, and when I introduced him, I says, for those of you that don't know him, he's only half the man he used to be. Because he literally had lost a ton of weight. He's got a rippling six pack. He's just a good dude, but he had told me that the reason it worked, meaning his transformation, was because Emanuel fixed his mindset. It wasn't about the nutrition, it wasn't about the regimen. He's tried different things before, but he said that's why it worked, and I thought that was really interesting. And then he knew that we would connect, and he connected with us. We got a couple people in here too, a couple of loan officers that follow him online, and you're just meeting him in person for the first time. Yeah, kind of know him a little bit. So yeah, he's check him out online, and we've got a slide at the end probably that'll give contact information. Yeah, cool.
Not mine, but he
his, okay.
Yeah.
So Emanuel, thanks for coming in, and I'm going to let you finish your introduction any way you'd like, and should be ready. Oh, my last slide is just to welcome you here. we do training similar to this every week. Another reason I'm excited about Emanuel is because we really are moving more into the personal development space as more of a theme instead of just business, how to, and get more business and all that kind of stuff. Because if you get this right, then your mind and your body and everything, then business will come as well. So Emanuel's right there in line with this. So here, all right, you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So, how to become and stay an asset in your business and life. The way I came up with this title, by the way, was literally on the spot. Jeff said, hey, let's put a training together. And I just thought of what entrepreneurs pay attention to. How many of you are familiar with assets and liabilities? Yeah, without understanding this concept, it's kind of hard to run a business successfully and to manage your finances successfully. So that's how I came up with it. There's a quote right here: the most relevant business card you can give someone is the first impression that you make. What do you guys think about this one? Anybody wants to share?
I think people are going to judge who you are, what you're about, in a lot of different areas. The first time they look at you, they go through a whole list in their head and put you in the category.
Yeah, it's huge. We'll dive into it. So here's my promise to you today. So I'm going to share with you one of the biggest reasons why many entrepreneurs become their biggest liability and never reach their full potential, and how you can prevent and reverse that starting today. I put prevent/reverse because some people are not quite there yet, but they still need help to start laying the foundation to prevent health issues and becoming that liability that we'll be talking about today. Reverse, if anybody watching this training feels like, oh, I'm already there, I just need a way to get a hold of my health and my body and my confidence, we can talk about that today too. I'm going to show you the blueprint that you need to get in the best shape of your life without wasting time in the gym and depriving yourself from foods that you enjoy. A lot of times people come to me, hey man, I've been training for 2 hours consistently, but I can't get the results that I want. I go 2 hours, I spend 2 hours at the gym 6 to 7 days a week. What's wrong with me? Or do I have to follow keto? Do I have to starve myself? Intermittent fasting, it's cool for the first couple of weeks, but then you can't sleep at night. The energy level is low. You can't function. You don't have that mental acuity that is serving you in business. So we're going to talk about that today. Give you a reliable tool for health optimization and longevity that is being used by elite level athletes and CEOs so you can become an asset in your business and life. And at the end, I'll show you exactly how you can start your health optimization and body transformation journey and hit your goals guaranteed. Who's excited for that? So not only, okay, this is what's possible, but you'll learn how it's possible for real, like no gimmicks. And by the way, some of you who have been following me probably know that I'm very anti-snake oil type sales man, especially in the health and fitness industry. There's a lot of fear-mongering strategies. Something is always wrong with you. A lot of fear-based, like all this stuff. We're gonna break it down, dismantle it, so you get clarity. And most importantly, be able to distinguish the BS from the truth. This works even if you have a busy schedule, don't have much time to spend in the gym, in the kitchen. Just by a show of hands, who is meal prepping consistently on a weekly basis? Anyone?
I haven't passed one.
There we go. If I showed you a way to manage your health, manage your body, and actually get in shape without having to be in a kitchen for hours, would you take me up on that? There we go. Yeah, because there is a way to do that. You don't have to cook every day. If you do have experience or you don't with exercise and nutrition, and you've been at a plateau, this is for you. You've tried everything under the sun, basically. Perhaps lost weight in the past, but the progress is not there anymore. Like we have a lot of people that come to us, hey man, I worked with this nutritionist, I worked with this coach, I lost some weight, I gained it back, but besides that, I actually gained even more weight. We gotta cover that too. If you feel burnt out, confused, or tired of misinformation and gimmicks sold by health gurus using fear-based tactics, this also works for you. I know this works because we're using the system with individuals who already worked with personal trainers, who already worked with nutritionists, fitness coaches. They got some results, but because they were lacking a long-term vision and a sustainable plan, they ended up with poor relationship with food. Not sure if anyone relates to this, but we often have people come to us from different coaches. Hey man, I'm gonna get you shredded in 12 weeks. They get shredded, they look fantastic from the outside. They get the photo shoot. Once they're done with the program, they end up with binge eating episodes. This is normal. You're basically fighting your body's desire to survive. And after you push beyond a certain level, like, never mind, that first picture, I was super shredded, but I didn't feel amazing in my body. So after you you push beyond that level for a while, your body wants to survive and you start feeling hungry. You reach this so-called diet fatigue. You chronically feel tired. And it's so easy to start binge eating. And once people do that, they make themselves wrong. But there's nothing wrong. The body wants to survive. You just need the right tools to navigate through that and recover. Weight gain, fat overshoot, lower self-esteem. I lost the weight. These guys who lost the weight with their amazing coach got super shredded. They gain all the way back. They stop working with the coach. They reach out to me, hey man, fix me. Well, there's a lot to fix actually, because you needed the vision, you needed the entire roadmap from the beginning so you can understand that. And this works because individuals that we have worked with have lost motivation in the past. And they were about to give up. One of them is sitting there. And they're still showing up, they're still putting in the work. So if you've ever been in that situation before, you're not alone. All these guys have been there, including myself. I've tried a lot of things. I'm going to go over that. Simon, before he started working with us, this guy is a real estate entrepreneur, I think agent too. He invests in real estate. Anyway, he's been coached by Grant Cardone for a while. Before we started working together, he actually got he worked with 12, 15 coaches, but he got his own CrossFit certification because he wanted to learn everything, yet he was still struggling. And he says here somewhere, Emanuel made me a client for life. Anyway, anytime we get on the call, like Jeff was mentioning in the beginning, we talk about mindset. It's all what's happening here that drives what we see on the outside. We got Michael Burns here. How many of you know Mike? There we go. Yeah, so working with him, I'm down 25 pounds in the best shape of my life. Same thing. Mike came to us. He had worked out for years. Meal prep, hey bro, I watch what I eat. I don't know what's wrong with me. Am I broken? No, you're not. You're actually over-consuming calories and you don't even know. And I'll go over that. Josh, down 54 pounds in 4 months, I fulfilled my why for joining the academy. So he's actually 80-ish pounds down, and you've been maintaining that. How long has it been?
Last year.
March last. And no, how long has it been since you maintained this weight?
About the last 3 months. 2-3 months, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so his why, would you mind sharing what your why was?
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
I kind of got to I've got 2 daughters, and my oldest male is like my best friend, and I got to the point where I was a dad that just wanted to like lay on the floor and be the jungle gym rather than proactive. I was losing my breath as I was tying my shoes and all that, and I wanted to be able to work out in the morning, go to work, and then go on a hike with my kids. And yeah, we halfway through the program, I strapped Mel on my back and we hiked up a mountain and got to the top and took pictures, and I lost it because I hadn't reached my why, and it was for my kids. I wanted to be a good dad. So
Thanks for sharing that. People aren't buying your real estate services, guys. I think we can all agree they're buying you. Your appearance, your values, your energy, the way you show up. That's what people care about. We care about connection. We're human beings. And the most relevant business card you can give someone is the first impression that you make. So, a quick real estate related question. What are the fiduciary duties of a realtor? Anybody wants to share? No? Okay. Let's go over them. Loyalty, confidentiality, disclosure, obedience, reasonable care and diligence, accounting. Why did I highlight reasonable care and diligence? Anybody wants to take a shot? Go ahead.
what you're presenting on, probably because if you're not taking reasonable care and diligence in your personal life, specifically in health, you're finding it difficult to care about every aspect of your life.
Absolutely. Spot on. Spot on. So if we don't look like we...
Comment on that. Lynn and I went to an expo here in Sandy recently as the Be Healthy Utah
Mhm.
Expo. A lot of holistic approaches to being healthy and a lot of different things. And going to these booths, it was interesting when you're talking about impressions. There was some people there running the booth that were not in good shape, not presenting themselves like what you're talking about, but yet they were talking about health and nutrition and vitamins and this and that, how great their product was. And I'm like, well, clearly it doesn't work for you. So there's a trust factor there where there's the credibility from the source,
Yeah.
maybe not really pay attention to the service of the product.
Thanks for sharing that. Yes. So true. It's like you go to a personal trainer and the personal trainer's BMI is 34. Or let's say the personal trainer body fat is 40%, 300 pounds. And you expect that personal trainer to get in the best shape of your life. It's not going to happen. Probably, but is that environment really conducive to motivating you to fully transform your body? No. So A little bit about us. We weren't always in top shape. I've tried a lot of things in the process. Keto, intermittent fasting, paleo, carnivore. So if you have a question about any particular diet, I'm here to answer it. I've tried them all. CrossFit, I got CrossFit certified. Powerlifting, high intensity interval trainings, cardio, meal plans, macro friendly, like P90X, everything that you can find out there. What made the biggest difference in my transformation was two things. First, formal education, learn the science, understand the human body. And after that, the second thing is applying that theory, that information. With those two, you go back and forth, you apply, you fail sometimes, you go back to the drawing board, you redesign your plan of attack, go back into the playing field, and you keep making progress. Along the way, we hired also coaches that turn hobbyist bodybuilders into professional bodybuilders, so we learn everything. Tens of thousands of dollars invested, years of trial and error, and thousands of hours invested in education, studying, trying, failing, trying again, failing again. That's all it took. Not too much. But fortunately, the system that you'll learn today will save you time, money, and energy, because you'll learn how to fish rather than giving you the fish. How many of you have tried weight loss programs in the past? You're given a plan, you start following the plan, but then you don't know, okay, this is not my life. Like, what am I going to do beyond this square that I'm standing on right now? Because this seems very, very limiting. Right, so we're going to talk about that today. That way you can take ownership over your health and body transformation and not be the victim of misinformation. A lot of times people come to us and they have all these weird ideas about getting in shape. Hey man, I think I need to do a keto. I need to cut out carbs. For whatever reason, they don't have any specific like health issue that ketogenic diet could help. But they hear things. Or carnivore, eat testicles, eat brain, eat like, cool, I've tried them too. So I know what you guys are going through. I've been there. Which means you could reach your goals predictably and create a strategy that is sustainable for you. If you can't stick to it, it's not gonna last. And this is my advice that I give to any individual that I consult, whether we end up working together or not. Because they try, they're like, oh, I'm shopping around. Okay, cool, keep shopping around, but here's two questions for you. Number one, can I actually keep this, whatever you decide to do you see yourself following this strategy or system 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And if the answer is no, keep shopping. And the second thing is, do you have the opportunity, once you enroll into this program, will you have the opportunity to actually learn the why behind the process? So you understand at every stage of your transformation, you understand what is required for you to make a permanent transformation. So you can start looking the part. If you're actually going to the gym, like you're actually going to the gym and eating healthy. A lot of times, how many of you guys have seen people going to the gym for a decade? I've had a client come to me. He works in the mortgage industry. He came to me saying that, hey, I've been working out for 20 years. What am I doing wrong? This guy in his 50s. And we went over his training. We went over his nutrition. And everything was out of alignment. He didn't know, like, he was going through the motions, but that didn't do anything for him. He was eating healthy. He was watching what he was eating, but that didn't change much. So I want you guys to, once you implement this information, you start seeing visible results. That's the goal of this. And not be the part of the weight loss statistics. I usually have a slide that people freak out when they see it. I didn't want to put it here. But usually what happens is when individuals decide to get into a weight loss program that is not necessarily sustainable, 95% of them, statistically, gain the weight back. And between 1 to 2/3 of these individuals gain the weight back plus more. And there's an entire mechanism behind that. But the body basically gets into this survival mode. You lose weight very aggressively, because this is what these weight loss programs do. They put you in a crazy deficit. You start losing weight very fast. You're super excited, but then you don't realize that you are going to reach some diet fatigue. You don't realize that your body starts fighting you back. And then when you start overeating again, and plus, by the way, there is a number that you will be eating at that will go down. This is calorie maintenance. So to maintain our weight, we'll go over that. We ingest a very specific number. I mean, it just fluctuates up and down, but it's about the same all the time. If this number is higher, then automatically that extra energy needs to be stored somewhere, and that somewhere usually is body fat. If this number is lower consistently, then I'm losing weight. And so if I lost weight, this maintenance, this number that I'm maintaining my weight at drops. People are not aware of this. It drops because you're carrying less weight on your body. The body requires less energy to maintain its homeostasis. And so we lost the weight. The reason why we gain it back is because the body now knows, hey, I need to keep this human being alive. Like I want to be alive. And so the body starts storing extra energy next time for future famine. And then the more we repeat that without knowing how to recover from the process of losing weight, we keep accumulating more and more and more and more. And that leads to gaining the weight back plus more. I started becoming my biggest liability the first time I attempted to become an entrepreneur. So I'm born and raised in a small village in Romania. I learned that being good at school is better than working in a factory 12 hours a day, which I did at 14 years old illegally to buy my first computer. My dad actually helped me with that job, with that position. But once I got my first computer, a new realm of possibilities opened up for me. I go to college. I do my best to get good grades while working part-time jobs, attempting to be on my own financially. My parents were actually struggling financially. I didn't want to be a burden for them. In 2013, my brother and I went abroad as seasonal workers to make money and open our first company. We're basically working 3 jobs, 90 plus hours per week, neglecting our health, not sleeping enough. I end up in the emergency room, a bunch of issues, infection on my calf, ingrown toenails from like autoimmune related problems, and the bills start piling up. And then we actually keep grinding. 4 months in, we go back and we have enough money. We start our first business, which was a powder coating shop, which we sold later. I gain financial freedom somehow, but I lose freedom in my body and my health because I neglect everything but my business. So I'm working at this shop 8 to 12 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. I'm skipping the gym. I'm eating fast food pretty much daily or takeout. I stay up late. I'm drinking alcohol every night. I gain weight. We make some money, not working for a boss. That was our vision initially, but we're unable to enjoy any of that money. So I'm at the doctor's office doing my annual check, and I'm pre-diabetic. I have high blood pressure. I move around, I do my physical activity, and I just feel like my head right here is throbbing. What's wrong with me? I get nauseous, I lose balance. I don't like what I see in the mirror. My brother is diagnosed with cardiac arrhythmia. We're both at the rock bottom wanting to make a change. I win at the diversity visa lottery program, which I've been applying since I turned 18, because I wanted to leave everything that had to do with my previous identity, which was back in Romania. I sell my share in the business. I paid debts. I'm left with almost $3,000 in my pocket. I buy one-way ticket to Washington, D.C., and here I am, changing lives after I had to change mine completely. All this master's in sports science, all these certifications are great. One thing that really helped me a lot was experience, real life experience. And this is what I wanted to share with you. As we get going, let's talk about mindset. Jeff brought this up in the beginning. So how to develop a mindset conducive to a healthy lifestyle, and a permanent transformation. The reason why people fail to get and stay in shape is not because they're lacking information. We're programmed to fail, some of us, and we're not even aware of that. And I'm going to dive into that. So do you guys remember the beginning process of learning how to drive a car? How was it?
It's hard to remember everything.
Yeah, it's tedious. You have to like repeat the same things, right? Like, oh, is this like shifting gear, like pedals, oh, this, that. Yeah, it's basically you're putting in conscious effort for a long period of time until you get it. But eventually you get to the point, how'd you guys get here? You drove the car, but do you really remember like shifting gears and all that if you had a stick? Like, oh, which pedal should I push? You don't, it's just very, very ingrained in that nervous system. The same thing applies to health and fitness. We're being programmed to be out of shape, some of us. And I started there. You know, the mantra in our family was obesity runs in the family. Or being overweight as you're becoming an adult is expected. We hear things like diabetes runs in my family. We're not talking about type 1 diabetes, we're talking about type 2 diabetes, which unfortunately is a result of energy toxicity, which we'll break down later. It's my hormones. Yes, to a degree, but there's a lot of things you can do and you have control over. It's my genetics. And some individuals that we've been coaching have gone through some childhood trauma and abuse. And still, that caused them to have a story. They repeated the story. It became a belief. And if we're looking at the cycle right here, we have the belief. The beliefs influence attitude. The attitude influences actions. Actions influence outcomes. Outcomes influence beliefs. And then we just spin in circles until someone either pulls us out or we just become aware of what's going on. And these are my genetics. I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to look like that in my 50s. So let's take a real life example here. So belief, obesity runs in my family. What's my attitude? I had this conversation with one of my clients before I got here this morning. He's in Europe. Before he was repulsive to tracking calories, like anything that had to do with measuring the amount of energy that he was putting in his body. He didn't want to hear about that. He was very like, oh no, that's I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, cool. What was the action that he was taking? He was eating healthy foods, not salads, organic sauces, dressings, dry fruit, granola. He would be mindful, which is okay. But the problem was, this was his outcome. I gained weight, like he was gaining weight because although he was making healthy choices, he wasn't aware that he was actually putting way too much energy into his body, and that energy would be stored as fat. And now, oh, I gained the weight. Hold on, what's my belief? Obesity runs in my family. Oh, okay. What's my attitude towards the whole thing? And you can see how this whole cycle can go over and over for the rest of our lives if we're not aware. So how we can break free from that? So first is awareness. It starts right here. Discovering the mental programs that keep you stuck in the negative outcomes. Oftentimes, we see these negative outcomes as default habits. Default habits are basically the actions that we resort to when we're dealing with hardship in life. Because everybody can stick to a diet, everybody can go to the gym consistently until, God forbid, we lose someone or we lose a big deal. I had a conversation with someone else the other day who's in Canada. He lost a $750,000 deal. Quite a bit of money. He put his own money in it and he lost it, and he started binge eating. He started beating himself up. He quit the gym. He started like going to bed late. how are you supposed to deal with this issue if you're basically destroying yourself? There's no way. So you become aware of the thought, the belief, and then you put in the conscious effort. Same way with driving. Oh, you know the concept. I want to learn how to drive. Okay. First, let's learn how to do it. The reps, put in the reps. And you do that for long enough until you start rewriting your operation system. It's repetition. Now, for that, we need some accountability in the process. Maybe a coach, people with common goals and beliefs, mentors. The goal, the idea is to have the right circle of individuals that can give you that encouragement and support. And then we go to the environment, which is basically, you can do everything by the book, but if the environment stays the same as it was when you were struggling, if you go back to the same environment with new habits, new skill sets, new mindset, what's going to happen? Eventually, you'll start blending back into your previous environment. And then as we're following these steps, over time, we start developing a new mental program. And Josh is an example of this. It does take repetition. It takes practice. Now let's take a real life example here. So calorie deficits don't work for me, for my body. I'm cursed. I'm broken. Okay. The conscious effort, first, I need to be aware and acknowledge the fact that this is a misbelief. This is not serving me. What other belief do I want instead of this? So I'm crossing this off. What do I want instead? Well, I would like to believe that I'm actually not cursed and I can get in the best shape of my life. I start writing that thing down while erasing this, and then under that belief, what conscious effort do I have to put in? Well, maybe start tracking my calories and make continuous adjustments to my food selection until I get into a real calorie deficit. Because a lot of times people say, well, I'm eating in a deficit, until we actually break it down for them and they see that they're way over consuming calories. And then accountability, nutrition coach that reviews what you're doing. Because a lot, like I said, people think they are doing right until a professional pair of eyes breaks down the entire system, their entire process for them. And then the environment, changes in grocery lists. Some people, might need to do that. I'm not judging, but I see a lot of crazy things at grocery stores. And I'm like, I wonder how these people can consume so much energy. It's just insane. What else do we have here? Spending more time with people that take good care of themselves. Be in the right environment. Changing the type of activities that you're doing with your children if you have kids. Instead of, chilling and watching Netflix and snacking on stuff, maybe let's go outside, let's play, let's ride some bicycles, let's go on a hike, let's learn a new sport. And then over time, this thing turns into a new identity. And the new default habits change too. That's the main goal. Because when we hit rock bottom in life, which you guys are in business, and as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, real estate professional, you know that it's not always easy. And that's the cool part of being alive, being in the human body, is to not have everything easy. Okay, so the thing is, when we start struggling, what are the habits that we go back to? Are we going to abuse alcohol? Are we going to overconsume calories? Or we take good care of ourselves strategically, because by being nourished properly, by getting enough sleep, by being fit, you can actually deal with adversity easier and figure your things out. And that was me. I was sleeping in public parks, freaking out. I didn't have a job. But instead of doing drugs or alcohol or stuff like that, I would just go exercise, eat as clean as possible, exercise in public parks, go for a jog to clean up my clutter in my mind, and knock into people's doors. Hey, do you have a job? Let's help each other. That's how I got here. So it's not easy. There are two models that we use with our students to create a mindset for transformation. So okay, we went over that. So the second model is taking ownership, becoming the creator. Because when we start giving power away to other people, external environments, politics, we're powerless. We're victims. We can't change anything. But when we take full responsibility, look, man, these are the choices that I have made during these years. This is the outcome. I own all of that. But because I own all of that, I reserve the right to change it, and I will. So we're basically moving away from the victim to victor. And so there are a lot of like, it's other people's fault, big pharma is evil, the food industry's fault. My friends like to party. This one comes up a lot from people who have kids. They're like, oh, my kids like McDonald's, love McDonald's, man. If I don't take them to McDonald's, they will hate me. I'm like, yes, but who trained them to want McDonald's consistently? Was it me? Probably not. So let's reframe that. Okay, I'm creating healthy habits with my family. I train these children to want McDonald's. That's okay. I can train them. A cool thing with Josh, he started including some healthy snacks in his family. That just was amazing to hear that. And did they love it?
Oh yeah. Protein cakes and all that stuff.
So it's amazing. You can change that. But you can change that as long as you're willing to take full responsibility for the whole thing. And don't tell yourself stories that, oh, it's this person's fault, is the government's fault. So the number one reason why many busy entrepreneurs become their biggest liability, what do you guys think?
They don't take care of themselves.
Yeah, so it's self-neglect. Look at these 4 people here. Jeff Bezos and Mark, they take good care of themselves. But the thing is this, there's this misaligned belief that business comes first, fitness comes last. I hear this so many times, and people try to make it right. Like it's ingrained in their subconscious mind, and they operate by it. Like these are their habits, their actions are in perfect alignment with this belief. And they find every single excuse, they line things up in their life, everything is perfect. Like when they say, well, man, I couldn't make it to the gym because this call came up. Perfect, legit excuse, right? But I also know a lot of entrepreneurs that are fit and confident and show up with energy, and they make different choices. So losing freedom in our body is basically what turns us into a liability. And it's time to change that. So from self-neglect to liability, there are a bunch of things here in this funnel. So poor self-care habits, which is energy toxicity, lack of sleep. And then poor body composition. This is very important. A lot of times people think that they just need to lose weight. We get them to lose weight, they don't like it. Why? Because they don't have enough muscle. Overweight, obesity, and then these two combined consistently leads to high risk of disease, chronic inflammation, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune related diseases, and so on. So let's talk about energy toxicity. So this results from consuming more calories, more energy than the number of calories expended throughout the day. The excess of energy consumed consistently needs to be stored somewhere, and that somewhere is usually fat mass. Statistically, it's a sad number, but this takes away 5 to 20, depending on the gravity of every individual, but takes away 5 to 20 years of human life. And this is just lifespan. We're not counting the quality of life. that individuals experience when they're not in shape. The good news is you guys are good in numbers, right? You know numbers in business. You know how many people you're calling, how many meetings you have, you know your bills, you know your revenue, I would assume, right? If we're good at numbers, then it'll be very simple to solve this issue of energy toxicity or prevent it. And we're talking about energy balance. So I have a little trick here for you guys. This cup right here represents the human body. Okay? This is energy, calories, everything that we put in our body. I go to, let's say I wake up in the morning, I have my breakfast. Breakfast comes in with some numbers. Those are calories. I stop by, is there anybody like Starbucks? Anybody Starbucks fans? Or okay, so we go to Starbucks, we order a latte. Whole milk, I want it healthy, organic. Cool, awesome. That comes with numbers. So breakfast, lunch, dinner. Anyone went to any real estate related trainings? Okay, what happens at these real estate related trainings? Do we have, yeah, who's bring, yeah, right? So we have these guys who are sponsors, bring treats. Okay, well, let's see, a muffin, 400 calories from Costco, easy. All right, cookie, anybody likes cookies? All right, good. All right, well, look what happens here. I'm overspilling energy. This energy needs to go somewhere. I put another layer. Let's keep going. What else you guys like? What's waffles? Ice cream? There we go. It's all going here.
Iceberg last night.
Nice.
Got a mini shake.
There you go. So right here. Now we need another layer. These layers, so what happens? What happens with this energy? Yeah. And what are these layers? What do you guys think? Exactly. So how do I get rid of this problem? Spot on, exactly. So I have to be aware of that. I have to learn that skill because now I'm not a hunter-gatherer anymore. I don't live in a world where I can only eat what I catch or harvest. I eat whatever I see available at the grocery store sometimes or at these real estate events, but I have to create some awareness around these blocks of numbers that I put in my body. Whether they're healthy or not, nuts, people all often talk about, well, nuts, organic, boom, 2-3 handfuls, that's 1,200 calories. That's probably the amount of calories for a lady that needs to eat, it's pretty low, but let's say you eat 4, that's 16-ish 100 calories. Or 1,800 calories. I don't know how I did the math there, but never mind. So, yeah, so it's a lot of calories, right? 4 handfuls, but you feel hungry later, so eventually you will, that's going to happen, yeah, exactly. So what's energy balance? It's the only way that will help you change your body weight and body composition meaningfully is the fundamental law of thermodynamics, how energy and mass work in our universe. So saying that, oh, calorie deficits don't work for me, it's like saying that I'm boiling water at 100 degrees Celsius and it's not boiling. It's probably not water, or you're probably not using 100 degrees Celsius. The energy you consume versus energy you expend, consume more, we went over that. The better you get at understanding the numbers in the food that you consume and controlling these numbers while understanding your goals, your very particular goals, because don't get me wrong, I have people who lose weight, but I also have people who want to gain weight. Someone just applied for next week who wants to put on weight. So depending on your goals, you need to understand how to adjust these numbers. But the better you get at understanding these numbers, it's like learning the currency, the dollar, the power of dollar. It makes it easy for you to make educated decisions with your expenses, right? And this example, epic. A day of eating in some of our students' life, right here, 1,800 calories, which is pretty expected for a man 5'10" who wants to lose weight. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4 main meals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 snacks. Can you stay satiated with that throughout the day? Most likely. But then you can also, I can fit, if it fits my macros, but this is 1,800 calories. And you eat it, might keep you full for 3, 4, 5 hours, but you want to eat more, and that will put you off balance again. So which diet do you guys think that does the best job for managing energy balance, in your opinion? What do you guys think?
Trick question.
Well, I saw the food that you had before, it doesn't matter, it's just about counting.
Okay, anybody else?
I saw ice cream and soda on your 1,800s.
That soda was calorie-free though. And this ice cream is, this is like 110-ish calories. We actually know it because we consume that. So here's the answer. All of them work because all of them have the same purpose, to help you eventually stay in a calorie deficit, negative energy balance. So basically, there's a condition here. As long as you can stick to the process, it doesn't really matter much, unless you have some sensitivity to certain foods, allergies, stuff like that. But if you can't stick to it, it's not gonna help. Eating disorders are a result of unsustainable dieting combined with unrealistic expectations that people have and lack of long-term vision. So losing excess body fat, building muscle, and staying at an optimal body composition will always, always require a form of cognitive restraint. Now, our job as coaches is to help you find a form of cognitive restraint that feels the least restrictive to you. Okay, so the diet type doesn't matter as much as long as you can stick to it. Consistency is the name of the game. So a couple of pointers here. When we create a nutrition strategy for successful body recomposition outcomes or body composition outcomes, we first focus on fiber. Fiber is a macronutrient on its own. Okay, so fiber and alcohol, besides protein, carbs, and fats. So for this one, we want to make sure that we hit the bare minimum when we're going into a diet, into a deficit. When you're eating at a surplus, hopefully if you're eating the right foods, you will have enough fiber in your diet. But that's important for your heart health, longevity, and satiety. When you're in a calorie deficit for long enough, you start feeling hungry. And the longer you stay there, the hungrier you start feeling, right? Fiber helps you manage that. 0.015 grams per calorie or 15 grams per 1,000 calories. That's our minimum recommendation. Hit your protein goals, 2 to 3 grams per kilogram lean mass, not 1 pound. How many of you have heard this on social media, YouTube? Oh, you need to eat 1 gram per pound body weight protein. There we go. So, well, what happens with the 400-pound guy that's 40% body fat? Would he have to eat 400 grams of protein? How does that make any sense? So, because we don't work with shredded athletes, we recommend allocating protein according to your lean and mass, because muscle, nails, hair, organs, all that requires protein. Fat mass doesn't care about your protein. Okay, so plus from 400 grams of protein, I think comes with 1,600 calories. That's a lot. Yeah, because it's 4 times. Okay. So we would much rather want to allocate those extra calories towards fats and carbs. Okay. So if I am 100 pounds, 30% body fat, if I were to allocate 2 grams per lean tissue, I'm taking away 30 kilograms for 100, I'm left with 70, multiplied by 2 is 140 grams of protein per day. Fat loss. For fat loss and optimal health, we always want to prioritize high volume, low calorie foods. We need to track that. We need to learn that. We have some lists, and I will show you where you can get those. Reassess and know your numbers as they might change. So your calorie intake in relation to changes in your weight. You're losing weight, your new maintenance changes. You're gaining weight, your new maintenance changes. So when you're losing weight, you're staying in the deficit, you're starting at, let's say, your maintenance is 3,000 calories, and you go down to 2,500 calories, you lost 10% of your body weight. That 25%, 2,500 calories now can be your new maintenance. And people are not aware of that. I'm like, I'm hitting a plateau. I don't know what's happening. Well, you need to keep cutting down on calories. But in order to cut down on calories, you need to go right here, prioritize high volume, low calorie foods, hit your protein targets, hit your fiber targets, so you can stay consistent. Otherwise, it's just going to be impossible to stick to the process. Know your intake targets in relation to your body composition goal. Without knowing your numbers, you're basically hoping and praying for progress, and people get frustrated. But that's science over feelings, right? Hit your numbers, calorie, macronutrient targets, whatever you choose. You might hear people saying like, oh, I don't want to count calories, but my nutritionist tells me count macros. Same thing. Macros come with calories. Macros are more accurate for certain reasons, when we look at processed foods. The calories on processed foods are often skewed. But if you do the math on macros, you will find the real calories. As weight comes down to healthy ranges and body composition improves, we lose fat, gain muscle, biomarkers improve. LDL cholesterol, anybody heard of that? HbA1c, triglycerides, HSCRP, which is chronic inflammation. All these improve, because the way we know that is because we look at blood work consistently and reassess that. You can get my guide for free to learn all these things, how to set realistic health and fitness goals, set up your nutrition targets for predictable results, how to eat out, enjoy social events, and train for permanent fat loss and optimize your health. You can go ahead and scan that. You will download it instantly if you want to. Just put your information there and you will.
Can I share that online?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I put a lot of work in this, and it's not fluff. It's not, you will see, there are barely any testimonials or anything like, no, it's just, I want to give away free information that's better than what you guys are paying for, because eventually the truth needs to come up. I'm like sick and tired of seeing people struggling for no reason. It's like we live in the age of information. Okay, so how to improve body composition. Josh, you're amazing, dude. Look at this transformation. You should be proud. You should be like standing here like posing. Like, it's amazing. Look at what this guy did. Anyway, these three body types represent what? Ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. I have a story about that. That's not real, because if you take a child and you malnourish that child throughout the entire process, he will be an ectomorph genetically. If you take a child and you overnourish that throughout the years, that child will develop more bone density, a bigger frame, and that turns into an endomorph. Anyway, needless to say, all these guys used to work out before for years. They weren't making progress. Why? Because the main focus was on like sweating, getting calories. How many calories can I burn? That's not how you measure efficiency of training if your goal is to change your body composition. So we're going to talk about that. Many people go to the gym, but not as many look as they're working out. How many of you have seen individuals at the gym for years and they don't look any different? That used to be me. I would train for hours until complete exhaustion. Like, I would just kill myself in the gym, hoping that that was the way, but it's not. We'll break that down. The truth is most people are under muscle, and even when they lose weight, they don't look what they see in the mirror. Why? Because there's no lean tissue there. So I often have people that are super excited. Hey, I want to lose all this weight. They're 30 pounds down. Oh, I was hoping after losing 20 pounds is enough. No. We either lose more or we shift gears into a muscle building phase. So how did we get here? Throughout history, humans transitioned from moving too much, meaning we had to find food, and sometimes people would die because they wouldn't have enough energy to support their level of activity, to moving too little, just desk jobs. And the energy demands of the human body have significantly decreased. Without an alternative, which today is the gym, or playing, doing sports, anything like that, the metabolic rate drops. Okay? Meaning we don't need as much energy to maintain homeostasis. If you don't use it, you lose lean tissue. Meanwhile, the energy intake has significantly gone up. We eat more calories than we can spend. Like I was talking earlier, easily accessible, hyperpalatable, calorie-dense foods. Calorie intake went up in 60 years by 867. It's not a lot, excuse me. But how does, so 1961 to 2021, we're looking at obesity in the US alone, 25%, 25.6 in 41 years, from 11.70 of the adult population to 37.30. It's a lot. Sad numbers, but what to know about resistance training? Lifting weights is not enough. Okay? The training should promote muscle growth and help you reach muscular maturity within your natural limits. Okay, because we hear ladies, for example, I don't want to look too big, or guys, even guys, like, oh man, I don't want to look too buff. I'm like, no, that buffness comes from excess body fat. It's covering your body. You don't, you need lean tissue. And a lot of people do not reach their muscular maturity before sarcopenia starts kicking in, which is the natural degradation of the lean tissue as we're aging. The more muscle we have, the more strength and the more functional the body is. A lot of times people think this backwards. I need to train functionally, but I'm under-muscled, so I can withstand daily challenges. It works if you do have a good base of lean muscle, lean tissue on you. But if not, you're more likely to hurt yourself during the training sessions, doing functional things, than you would if you did some hypertrophy-focused training. Muscle is the organ of longevity, metabolically demanding tissue. The more of it you have, the more calories you can burn at rest, because it does require quite a bit of energy to just be maintained. Higher bone density due to mechanical tension. If you want to maintain your lean muscle, you have to work for it. Working for it requires a lot of tension for the entire skeleton, for the muscle tissue, and that helps you improve bone density. Lower risk of fractures. Can improve insulin sensitivity. HbA1c, type 2 diabetes. The more lean tissue I have, the better my body is at metabolizing glucose, sugar. Lifting, muscle growth slows down over, like as we age. We all deal with this. It's called sarcopenia. We lose strength, performance, and then what we can do is slow down the process. That's all we can do. And now we have the modern medicine, which is TRT, HRT, hormonal optimization therapy, which can help men and women later in life to combat that, which is great. Exercise selection, prioritize high stimulus, low fatigue ratio exercises for faster recovery. So you're in a fat loss and you're depriving your body from energy, you accumulate fatigue. What's going to happen is if you stick to that bar squat, because everybody's like compound movements, you do a bar squat and your core muscles and your entire nervous system can give up before you even feel anything in your quads. And it's like, that's high fatigue, low stimulus ratio, extremely ineffective for developing lean tissue, building muscle. So what would be a better alternative? Leg press, leg extension. You can solely focus on that specific muscle group so you can grow it, build it at first. And then you can add more compound movements and all that stuff to be functional, because now you have the tool, the main tool, which is muscle. Train muscle groups versus moving patterns. Burpee is a movement pattern. What does that train? When you do a burpee. By the way, you guys,
I did burpees this morning.
there you go. Do you love them or hate them?
I used to hate them, now I don't mind them.
Yeah, so they're great to exert energy, to spend calories, right? But does that gonna make me buff? Is that gonna help me build my chest, my arms, no, probably not. Yeah, exactly. It does help with anaerobic capacity, like to develop that ability to burn through my glucose faster. But other than that, not really effective if I want to build my physique. So I changed that, I swapped that for bench press if I want to, or a shoulder press. Push-ups, it's a compound body weight, perfectly fine for building muscle. Time under tension for every repetition. If you feel it, if it's burning, it's working. But that takes a lot of mental involvement in that. Take sets close to technical failure, 1 to 3 reps in reserve. A technical failure is this. So I'm doing a bicep curl here, very nice, isolated, maybe leaning against the wall. And I start noticing that my shoulders come up. I start noticing that my hips are helping me. That's technical failure. That's how close you need to go. You don't have to destroy yourself in the gym. Prioritize correct form and full range of motion over ego lifting. It's a big one. So I have guys, I go to the gym, and every gym I go to, after a couple of months, people start approaching me. Hey man, what do you do? Oh, my elbow hurts. And I explain, like, this is what I do. I help people, blah, blah, blah. And I already have a patient with tennis elbow, a guy who's rehabbing his shoulder, and a guy who has problems with his lower back. And anytime I go there, I'm their physical therapist. But the problem, why do these individuals struggle with that? It's just like ego lifting. They don't understand their actual limits. And it's fine, it looks cool, but if you actually are being watched by someone who understands this process, it looks kind of silly. And it just puts you at risk of injury. And it just feels like it's a waste of time. It doesn't lead anywhere. So slow down, lower the weights, and focus on that correct form. And take your set close to failure with that correct form, close to failure, because sometimes I see ladies in particular, they do this, they get those pinky weights, and they just keep going. They could do probably 100, but they stop at 20. That felt right. I don't know why, but just did feel right. No, you're not going to grow. Okay, so you got to take that to technical failure. Okay, training muscle groups 2 times per week is superior to 1 time per week. We do have a lot of new scientific evidence emerging, and that is great news to me because you can actually save more time in the gym, you can shorten your workouts, and train more frequently. And that allows you to grow faster. Did you have a question? All right, we already went over this. Health optimization, longevity tool. This is what we're using. Knowing what's going on inside the body allows you to make educated adjustments in your habits to improve health, performance, and lifespan. We're using insighttracker.com. You guys can take a photo of this, up to you, a screenshot on Zoom. These are the health markers that we look at, okay, consistently. Oftentimes, people try to take this list to their physician. If you have an insurance company that can cover that, it's great. If not, just use Insight Tracker. Honestly, it just takes a lot of headache away. Why? Because you go to your physician, the physician feels quite a bit of resistance to refer you to a lab where you can pull your TSH, for example, or testosterone, for example. There are certain health markers here that they don't look at unless you start having symptoms. When you have symptoms, it's clear. You need treatment, you don't prevent it. And it's unfortunate. And it costs you more upfront to prevent it than later when you are being referred and your insurance covers it, but you need to pay for the treatment right now. So it's just, these are the steps. You guys can use Emanuel Pro 25. That gives you a 25% off. I'm personally using this. Hailey's using this. Our students are using this. This is how it works. You're basically, you can have someone come to your house and draw your blood. But if you do this through Insight Tracker, what I'm gonna do, you reach out to me personally, and I will get on a Zoom session with you, and we break down all the health markers so you understand what's going on and help you understand where you need to work on to start optimizing these health markers. Because for some of us, there will be quite a few red ones which are not optimized, and you want to take care of that. Especially if I go back here, APOB. APOB tells you how close or far away you are from a heart attack. So now let's recap real quick how to become and stay an asset in your business and life. So everybody knows the difference between assets and liabilities, right? And is anybody here that does not know the difference between? No, guys. So a human body asset, optimal weight, body composition, great mental health, positive attitude, great energy, high levels of self-esteem, functional, strong, and they are providing for people. And they're also able and capable to deal with adversity properly and grow their business. Liability, I have been there. Suboptimal weight, poor mental health, brain fog, low energy levels, low self-esteem, movement limitations, weakness. We're basically surviving, okay? But if we're open and willing to look into the problem and reach out for help and support, we can make change, okay? So it's not the end of the world. Recap. So number one, assess your current situation honestly and make a decision. Check your health, check your body composition, step on the scale, take progress photos, anything you need to do to really assess, am I optimal right now? Am I happy with what I see in the mirror? Am I happy with how I feel in my body? Step number two, set realistic goals and time frames, short-term, long-term. This is different for everyone. Phase one is fat loss. That's where I started. I was kind of chubby. I was not happy. I didn't take many pictures of myself. That's probably saw that over and over again. That's the only picture I have shirtless. Phase one is fat loss. A lot of people get caught up in this one tiny phase, and they never, ever break free from that because that's all they know. It's just, that's it. This is it. You need to recover from it. That's metabolic restoration. You need to give your body the time that it needs to recover to keep all that weight you lost off. And then you need to tap into muscle building. You need to nourish your body properly, train properly. The training will change, the nutrition changes, the food selection changes. And then over time, you start incorporating all the lessons into your identity and you create a lifestyle. Number three, design a strategy conducive to your goals and current lifestyle, doing the mindset work. That's the most important part. I put that first because if the mind isn't right, just chasing unicorns that we'll never catch. Custom training, custom nutrition strategy, recovery, sleep, hydration, supplementation, and fun. A lot of times we forget that we need to have fun in life. Play more. That's part of recovery. Play more. You'll recover faster. You will sleep better. Number four, execute the strategy while making educated adjustments along the way as the body adapts. Like I mentioned before, calorie targets change over time. That's what we do with our students. We sit down and we assess that on a weekly basis. If you hit a plateau, we make adjustments so you know what to do moving forward so you keep making progress. The body adapts to training. You do the same workout for many years, you might hit a plateau. You might not be able to grow. Weight loss, weight gain, plateaus. Track your calories, your weight, your training progress. Track as many variables that are important to you as you possibly can. Excuse me. So you have enough data. When you're stuck, you go to those variables and you know what adjustments you can make. Oh, I could probably do more steps. If you're tracking your steps, I can take more steps throughout the week, or I can cut down on calories. I can take away more calories from fat because I don't need to put 2 tablespoons of olive oil in with my eggs. So you need to be aware of that. Celebrate. It's very important to celebrate your wins. This is a way to reinforce the new habits, reinforce the new you. You got to remember that you're on a path, you're on a journey, and anytime you hit a goal, just allow yourself to acknowledge yourself for that effort that you've been putting in, because you deserve it. You can go on a vacation, show off your hard work, schedule professional photo shoots. Ladies, we have women who do that often. Buy new clothes that you've been wanting to wear but you couldn't. Compete in a sport that you love. Anything. Take your kids on hikes.
You're gonna say McDonald's.
That's an option. So you can do this in 2 ways. You can use the information that you learned today along with the resource. Be okay with the fact that there will be some trial and error in the process. But if you're okay with taking your time, that's awesome. Okay, you go back to that resource. Pretty much, I broke down everything you need. Now, the thing is, have you been to events like this and learned a lot of things, but you went back home and you were super excited to implement and take action, but kids, life, challenges, all that stuff, and you just steered you away from the entire information. Everything is watered down. It happens a lot, right? So if you don't want that, we can save time, reach your goals within the time frame that you have for yourself. We do it with you, and the results are guaranteed. And I'm going to explain what that means. Are you guys open to learning about that? How we can do that? Okay. So first, you can hire a nutritionist and personal trainer, and I broke down these numbers are realistic. This is what I've heard from people and what I've done, because I've been a personal trainer for quite a few years. You get a nutritionist, you get a personal trainer. A lot of times people, like Hailey had a conversation with someone who wants to work with us, and you said, oh, I need to hire these 2 professionals. Awesome. This is how much it's going to cost you roughly. And you don't get support outside of the sessions with your nutritionist. No plan for holidays, vacations, social gatherings, other than some general information, which is great. It's helpful, but we have people that travel quite a bit, and we know their particular situation very well, and we can educate them on what to do. So they know for their future. Anytime you need to adjust your plan, you need to pay, usually. And that's on average, a good nutritionist, because there are a lot of them out there, $150 per visit. You need at least 2 visits per month. But if you're someone like me, when I was preparing for a competition, I would consult with my coach once a week, because I didn't want to miss the mark. And say you want amazing results, 4 visits, that's for 6 months, $3,600. Personal trainer is awesome, but a lot of them are generalists, meaning they don't really understand how to help you with muscle building. They have all these corporate style workouts that walk people through and focus on burning calories and pushing you through, but you don't get mindset, you don't get accountability outside of those sessions. Sometimes you schedule the session, you miss the session, you have an appointment, and you're being charged and you get frustrated. But anyway, so let's say on average, $80 per session, 4 times a week. That's for 6 months, $7,680. It's quite a bit of money. You don't get nutrition, besides some very general templates. But let's say if all that did was help you lose at least 30 pounds of body fat, get some visible definition in your body, get stronger and gain more confidence in your body, wear whatever you want, would that be worth it? What do you guys think?
Yes.
It would be worth it. What about help you prevent costly health issues caused by weight gain and self-neglect? We went over that, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. Diabetes alone on average costs 12 grand a year. Would that be worth it? Increase your energy level so you can connect and attract the right people in your life and get more business done. That'd be worth it? Yeah. So now, this is our roadmap to guarantee results in 6 months. First, we start with an initial consultation. We get crystal clear on where you are in your journey. Some of you have a lot of experience. Some of you have probably not a lot of experience. Whatever you are, we assess that. We look at your lifestyle, your schedule, your habits, what is going on right now, what have you tried, and then create a personalized plan of action to lose weight, optimize your health, and transform your body. The second thing here is 3D accountability and mindset. This is where we start. As we assess these goals, we start learning, okay, what is this individual thinking in terms of their ability to reach their goals? And then we start mirroring. We're a mirror. We don't blame, we don't judge. This is what I hear. How does that sound to you when I say it back to you? How do you feel about it? Is this helping you? Is this not? It's a lot of work there, but it's going to be a coach in your corner, daily support when you need it, one-on-one coaching training, and real-time feedback. Real-time feedback, we look at your tracking, when you track your food, when you track your workouts, there are things that always come up. And if we don't catch that on time, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and eventually, if that's a red flag, that can keep you stuck. So that's why we do that on a weekly basis. We track your progress. There's a community of other people that are pretty much on the same journey with you. And then sustainable custom nutrition, 100% tailored to your goals and lifestyle. And most importantly, knowledge. Know what you're supposed to do. Know why are you supposed to do those things that we share with you, that you will learn in the process, and learn exactly how to do it. And that will give you power to overcome these plateaus. That will help you create this lifestyle versus dieting. What's the next diet? What's the next fad? What's the next? No, you understand calories, you understand food density, you understand fiber, you understand how to create the whole plan for yourself. Flexibility, variety, that gives you the ability to stay consistent. When you travel, you know how to eat. When you have these real estate related events, you know what to choose. Even if you have a cookie, now you know that cookie is 200 something calories. You add it in an app, whatever log you want to use, but you kind of keep track of the amount of energy, and you're more aware, okay, so I've had 400 calories, I had 2 cookies. What is my budget for the rest of the day to not go overboard and not overconsume calories? So custom training, short and effective, usually 60 minutes or less. For guys that Josh came to us and he's probably time in the gym, got cut down in half-ish. Yeah. Build lean muscle, reduce belly fat. That's the main everybody wants, but the goal is to start working towards maximizing your muscle hypertrophy naturally. Build around your body's imbalances to prevent injuries or bring up muscle groups that are lagging or underdeveloped. Includes travel workouts accessible from your phone 24/7 and adapts as you're making progress, as long as you are checking in with your coach consistently. And lastly, the metabolic restoration plan. That allows you to keep the weight off long term. After we lose weight, we need a recovery plan. We've talked about this. Because often what happens is this. So this is yo-yo dieting right here. I go in a deficit. This red line is my weight. This dotted line is calorie intake right here. And then the blue one is my metabolic rate. I go into a cut, I lose weight, but then I overconsume calories and I gain the weight back. Look what happens with my metabolic rate, the blue line. Over time, it keeps dropping compared to a reverse dieting, a metabolic restoration. Keeps going up and up and up. It means I'm acquiring more lean tissue, I'm keeping a lot of weight off, and I'm making progress over the long term. This is the most important part for a successful body transformation, in my opinion. So that needs to be understood and deployed. We're basically we're methodically increasing calories at the end of your cut, of your fat loss phase. So you're not gaining the weight back, or at least you're not gaining a lot of weight back, because some weight will come back and it's expected. It's not even half. We're not like everything you need basically is not even half of this 11,280 for just hiring a personal trainer and nutritionist for 6 months. And some of you might ask, okay, how much does this cost? Basically, this thing varies. We have a consultation. We see where you're at, how much work we need to do. And basically, we can come up with a tuition according to that. But it's not, certainly not 11,000, not even half of that. The cool thing is this, it's risk-free. Okay, so if you don't get the goal that we established during our consultation, 1 month prior to the end of 24-week program, we will refund you every single penny that you invest in the program without asking you any questions. And if you choose so, we will be working with you free of charge until you get your goals, to your goals. I believe in this so much, as long as we're all transparent and we're following through the process that nobody fails. And if we decide to work together, once you book your free consultation today, basically you will get 6 extra weeks of coaching, which is valued at $1,050, and you get 30 weeks instead of 24. What that does is it helps you, let's say you want to lose weight. We lost the weight, we got you chiseled. Now let's talk about the metabolic restoration. And we have plenty of time to restore you metabolically so you're ready for a muscle building phase. So you basically have the whole package in there. All you have to do is just schedule a transformation discovery session. If this resonates with you, we're basically take this code right here, because this will be required if you guys want to take advantage of the 6-week bonus. I'm gonna give this away just for people who attended this training. Otherwise, we're charging for that. But basically, we sit down, we discuss your current habits, your lifestyle, health situation, learn about your specific goals, timeframes, challenges you faced along the way, so we can understand where you are. You get to find out if the program is the right fit for you. It might not be for everybody. It's totally fine, no hard feelings. If it is, then we'll create a customized strategy to help you get in the best shape of your life. The session is free. There's no strings attached. If it makes sense, if we vibe, awesome. If not, at least we get a better understanding, you get a better understanding of your goals and what is required to get there. Because sometimes people have very skewed expectations, and for good reasons. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So, any questions? Yeah.
Can you work with people remotely? I know you got a couple people in other states on Zoom.
All of our students are remote. Yeah, Europe, Asia, Canada, US. Yeah. Any other questions? Or going back to what we talked about, calories. I know, John, you mentioned you had some questions.
You know, with certain foods like if you're making, for example, you want to have whipped cream and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You make that homemade and stuff, as long as you keep it within your target, calorie deficit, it's okay, right?
Absolutely. That's a good question. Are people able to hear the questions on Zoom? Are you guys?
You should be.
Okay. So it's funny, Hailey does a lot of whipped cream. She's the queen of whipped cream. I do buy whipped cream from, is it Costco? No, Costco, Winco. And there's a light version of it. As long as it fits within your calories and it doesn't take away a large amount of calories that you would otherwise allocate towards real food, especially if you're in a cut, right? So if you're in a deficit and the deficit is super low, that when you add in, let's say 2 tablespoons of whipped cream, let's say 60 grams of that, and that takes away 300 calories, what would happen is you would take away real food just to have that whipped cream. And it does satisfy your craving temporarily, but you're accumulating more diet fatigue faster now because you don't have as much volume, you don't have as much fiber. But as long as it fits, enjoy it.
The cutting, you're trying to cut all that out, and then once you down to the level you like, it's a lot easier to have that kind of stuff.
Yes, but make substitutes, because there's a lighter version. It tastes pretty much the same, to me, at least. I know people say that it tastes different, but
Would you feel different versus using store-bought stuff that has more chemicals in it versus more natural, even though it's heavier?
I don't care about that as much. Honestly, people, yeah, that's the thing. That's a good question. It's a good question, because a lot of people are like, oh, all these chemicals. Okay, guys, so let's first, if the house burns, what's the first thing you do? You get outside the house, right? If you're in the house, that's the first thing you do. If I'm over consuming calories, what's the first thing that I need to do? Is it focus on the chemicals that I'm consuming, or actually energy toxicity? I'm actually consuming a ton of calories right now. What's more important? Because if I gain weight, all my health markers are going to be out of whack, regardless of grass-fed, grass-finished lamb from New Zealand. I had a guy who called me, hey man, this is what I eat. My wife bakes sourdough or breads and everything healthy, and the guy is 100-something pounds overweight. That doesn't matter as much, but it's just up to you as well, like whatever you prefer. Anything else? Good questions.
I think you mentioned before, eating out, there's a strategy for eating out, kind of places you go or have the foods that are conducive to the plan.
Yeah.
Any recommendations there?
Yeah. So do you have a particular restaurant you like to go to, or it just changes, varies all the time?
Cafe Rio,
Mm-hmm.
Teriyaki Madness kind of place.
Yeah. So there are multiple strategies. I actually have an entire resource of that. If you guys download that book, there's going to be a link there where it directs you to an entire training that I did. But there are a couple of things you can do. So first, if you go to a restaurant that is more, it's not a chain restaurant. Chain restaurants have their calories pretty much on their website for the most part. You go there, your calories roughly, because FDA is not going to go there and make sure that everything is perfect. There is a 35% variance always. So up and down from 100 calories can be 135, 100 or 75. So it's not accurate, but it's close enough. So if I see the calories and macros, then I usually if I use my Fitness Pal or something like that, I pre-track. And that gives me an idea, okay, this is how many numbers I'm allocating to this meal that I'm going to have with a client at Cafe Rio. And that gives you awareness to create the other meals around that specific thing. So that's assuming that you have calories on paper. Now, if you don't, we customize it for individuals, but generally they go to a restaurant where they don't have calories, but they have lean proteins-ish. Maybe they have shrimp, maybe you like chicken, maybe you like steak, a lean cut. Roughly, ask the waitress, how many ounces per serving? 6? Okay, cool. I can pre-track that. Do they have veggies there? Okay, give me 2 cups, 3 cups of veggies. Give me half a cup of rice. And I get an idea. What I like to do for restaurants is I pre-track usually 1 or 2, 10 or 20 grams of olive oil extra, because they use a lot of fats, although they don't use olive oil. But there's extra calories from fats in these restaurant foods that nobody talks about. And people think that, and the tricky part is you use oil to cook food. Does that oil have any volume when you eat it? No, but it's super dense. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. 1 gram of protein is 4. 1 gram of carbs is 4. Fat is the most dense, and it has the lowest thermic effect of food, meaning when you ingest fat, the body doesn't burn extra calories to metabolize that. When you ingest protein, the body takes away from 100 calories of protein, takes away about 30% to only metabolize protein. So that's the thermic effect of food. So when you eat protein and carbs, the body puts in more effort to metabolize that. When you eat fat, it's not only easier to overconsume calories because the fat is dense, but it's also easier for the body to store it. So I always add some extra fats with restaurant foods if I'm ordering off the menu.
And when I tried to track my macros before, I found that my sodium would be way high.
Mhm.
Are there ranges, but I work out, I know I sweat and drink a lot of water. Are there ranges of sodium that you want people to stay within?
As long as you hit your fiber, that's the thing. Like I would pay attention more to fiber than sodium. Because salt, people say, oh, I cut out salt. Salt, without salt, technically, we die. It's a big problem there. But as long as I hit my fiber intake, then my sodium naturally won't go way high. Because now I'm eating more whole foods that naturally don't come in with a lot, don't bring in a lot of sodium. That makes sense. So I don't necessarily focus on that as much as I do focus on quality foods. Anything else? You guys want to eat? Should we eat something? We did some meal prep. Hopefully you like it. We did put in a lot of work. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. If you have future questions, let us know.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to stick around, right?
Yeah.
So think of those extra questions. You guys on Zoom will probably say goodbye, though. We're gonna stick around here and have some lunch. We would click to the next slide. You can see our upcoming trainings. In a couple of weeks, we have James. He's right here. He's gonna be presenting. I always like to point that out. And Jason, you're on there too. Yeah, we got a couple of feature presenters here in the office today, so that's awesome. So how many ever heard the saying, let's see if I get this right, like a healthy person has 1,000 dreams, an unhealthy person only has one.
That's a good one.
Right? It kind of sums this up. It's like when you feel good, you do good, your relationships are better, your business is better and everything. So this was awesome content, awesome information, and I'm gonna sign up for a consultation and go from there. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's pull the food out.